Here we are, another episode of the Ice Team podcast. I got good friend Tony Freund. A lot of you that follow Clam Outdoors, Ice Team, all that stuff, if you come to any event or any show, you're going to see Tony. Tony is usually, I gave him a nickname on social media yesterday. Did you see that?
I did.
What the spooling goat, and I mean goat as greatest of all time. Tony is usually behind the line winder in the booth at Clam Outdoors, and he's going crazy spooling stuff. Put your hands up real quick. Okay, all 10 fingers.
Yep.
All 10 fingers. But more than that, Tony, here's what I love about Tony. I love a lot of things about this guy right here. He is probably the most selfless guy I've ever met. And I mean that. Like, you are always willing to help. I'm surprised you ever even have a shirt on, because you're always giving the shirt off your back to literally everyone around you. And I know with like Minnesota Made, it's an ice fishing league. You got awards for being sportsmanship, right?
Yep, I got
all that stuff.
First year with Minnesota Made, just me being me, just doing what I do. I was given the honor of being the Kender's Sportsman of the Year for them. So I'm like, wow, first time in this league, and I get that. And it's just because
not surprised
how I am and what I do. So.
Yeah, not surprised. So Tony is on our pro staff at Clam Outdoors, does a lot of different things on the ice, helps with all the events. And we are actually at the North Metro Ice Show right now. It is 9:04 in the morning on Saturday, and the show is actually underway. I mean, we got people starting to buzz around. So if you hear some ambient noise in the background, that's what's going on. So we don't have the TV on in the background. It's actually people shopping already, walking around this show floor. So, Tony, we are now end of October. We woke up this morning and we had frost on our vehicles.
It was a beautiful sight.
Did you try to find ice?
I did find ice.
Where did you find ice?
The garden hose that was left out in our driveway, I stepped on. I'm like, oh, that's a little solid.
Yeah. So it's happening. I mean, I know a lot of people, and we've talked about this on other podcasts, are thinking about what happened last year, right?
Yep.
That's why it's last year. It's not this year. And we had Todd Heitenkamp on a podcast here just a few weeks ago. Todd is from Dakota Angler, and he's a weatherman. That's what he does when he's not doing 17 other things. And I confirmed with him again just a couple nights ago, called him and said, hey, man, we still trending cold? He goes, you bet we are. So all signs pointing towards a great ice fishing season. We're super pumped up. And, yeah, when you wake up on days like today and you see frost on the windshield,
it just gets it just gets the blood flowing. And it's like, yes, it's upon us. It's coming. And, I mean, every metric I have seen, too, we're going to have probably the best year.
Yeah,
is going to be this year. We're going to have more than average snowfall. So track machines are going to be big this year.
Sure.
Whether it's a snow dog, a snowmobile, or tracks on a four-wheeler. I think that's going to be a very important aspect this year.
Yep.
And I'm hoping, because I saw the last projection, a quick freeze.
Yep. And then snow. So I'm hoping that let's get 6 inches on the ice, get that good, and go ahead and snow all you want. Yeah, I'm with you. And I mean, we're dorks. Let's call it what it is. Yeah, we're ice fishing dorks. I mean, we live this. I mean, I'll see Tony in July at something, and we're probably talking ice fishing, and it's in our blood, and we're excited. And days like today, it's like I look at my neighbors. We live in a cul-de-sac, and I get outside. I'm letting the dog out. Sun's peeking up. It's cold, and I'm smiling. Yep. And I'm sure my neighbors, if they could see that, they're like, what the heck is wrong with Matt? Like, this is cold outside. I don't want to be doing. And I'm saying, bring it. Let's go. Let's keep this cold coming. So this is fun. We're excited. This is the first major ice fishing show of the year. Clam has got it going on. The booth is looking on point. We have so many new products this year. Oh, I know. It's insane to probably even go through them all. But we have a whole slew of stuff, from Ice Armor clothing to new fish houses, that partnerships with our Ice Ops lines and Folds of Honor, tackle. We have a whole new lineup of heaters. We have a whole new lineup of clam shuttles for using your electronics and forward-facing sonar, new rods and reels and tackle and accessories. There's all kinds of stuff going on today. You name the category, Clam's got something in it. Yep. That's, the biggest one to me, I'm loving that Spooler Elite combo. Spooler Elite combo. Man of my heart.
great. I mean, absolutely great. Probably one of the greatest reels for inline reels of all time. And
I would agree.
Probably number one question every year is, hey, I'm going to get this reel. What rod do I get?
Yeah.
And the fact that now here we have a combo. We got, what is it, 4 different models?
4 models, yep.
Light, ultralight, noodle, and spring bobber.
You got it.
I already got one of each.
I was gonna say, and you own all 4. And the rod is awesome.
2 of them.
Like, you nailed it, dude. Like, I got a chance to play with that setup last winter on the ice. And Nate Nipper is our rod developer at Clam Outdoors, and Nate is an absolute fish head, not just a phenomenal bass angler, but he does it all. And we balance that rod perfectly with the type of handle, the material of the handle, the guide train, the placement, everything. It's a great setup. I would have to agree, man. That's one of my favorite new products this year for sure. And then there is a new, speaking of that reel, there's a new color. You kind of have that grayish color. I don't know the exact term. Is it smoke gray? I don't know.
Something like that.
Something like that. It's super clean. I picked up 2 of those. It just looks sharp. You can't have enough.
No.
I'm super excited. Let's talk about the season. Let's talk about what gets us excited for this winter. Like, Tony, where are you going to ice fish? Right out of the, like, what is the first place you're going to this year? Do you have it figured out already?
Borderline, it's going to be, well, more importantly, where there's ice.
Yep.
I mean, if I got to drive up to Red Lake, I'm going to Red Lake.
Yep.
But we're always gonna shoot for north of Mille Lacs. That's kind of our, a good safe start. Like anything north of Mille Lacs, your chances are good to find at least 4-5 inches of ice. Sure. Ideally, I want to find 5 inches.
Yep.
I feel a lot more comfortable because at 5 inches, you can have that difference walking out there like, okay, all of a sudden it drops to 3. Well, 3 inches, I'm still okay. I'm a little bit more cautious.
Yep.
But if I'm only fishing on 3, well, now that's going to paper thin, and, well, it ain't going to work out too well.
I'm with you.
So,
yeah, it's funny you mention it that way because we just had a conversation the other day, and that's exactly what we were saying is like, you know what? People want to talk about, I was on 2 inches, 3 inches, like it's something cool, right?
Yep.
They want to brag about it, and I understand why they say that, but at the end of the day, like, you have to always keep safety in the forefront.
Yep.
Like, you always have to, and you are right. Like, if I'm on 3 inches of ice, I've seen it so many times where, like, 3 inches, yes, should support a human, no problem on what. I'm not going to tell anybody to go out on 3 inches, okay? But it should support you. But you make a really good point that your next 4 steps to the left could be 1.5 inches of ice.
Yep.
And that's where anglers get in trouble. So, practice safety, don't risk anything. I've always told people if they're walking a line or if they're doing this or doing that on the ice and they have to stop and think about it, don't do it.
Yep.
So if you have to take a moment to stop and, should I be out there? Or, man, should I go that direction? At least take a second guess, check the ice, don't just go. And that's an easy rule of thumb. Like, you shouldn't be at the edge of the water going, wonder if I can make it out there. That's a bad thought process.
Yep. I mean, let's talk early ice safety. I mean, what are the pieces that you're bringing with you that first walk out there? Like, this is the first one before you even think about grabbing that auger or that rod.
Yeah.
What's going through your mind? What's your process of doing?
I mean, I wear a float suit pretty much all year, all ice season.
Yep.
So obviously the suit on my body, the ice armor, float suit, the motion float stuff, super comfortable. Also a peace of mind. I definitely have a pair of ice picks around my neck. And I know last winter, I think it was my necklace the whole season. I had it on. I live with a spud bar in the truck, especially the first several weeks of the year. I'm checking the ice all the time. And I'll even cut holes. So it's one thing to check ice with a spud bar, a couple good whacks, but I still even cut holes and actually measure the ice.
Yep.
I still do. I mean, I still go through and measure the ice, look at the ice thickness, look at what the ice looks like. Is it clear ice? Is it cloudy ice? Did it freeze and refreeze and thaw and refreeze? So I do things like that, but I would say those safety tools, a good pair of cleats. I don't care if you're the most athletic human on this planet, you will slip on ice.
Oh, it's a given.
Especially right after you cut a hole.
Yep.
So those are some of the things I do. And then I always at first ice, I'm never ice fishing alone.
No, you can't. You got to have a buddy. And it's not just, it's a safety thing. Because if something goes wrong, we can be the most prepared ice anglers out there, like you said. Float suits, picks, chisel. Well, one misstep falling through, hit your head on the ice,
Yep.
you can be knocked out cold.
Yeah.
You're SOL at that point. There's nothing you can do. Where at least having that buddy, we're getting you out.
Yeah. Plus, it's
matter
fun to fish with people.
Oh, that too.
I mean, how are we going to make fun of each other, Tony, if we're not on the ice fishing together?
I mean, we can try over the phone, but that never really works.
Last year we did one of the last trips Tony and I went on was it was Metro.
Yep.
And the ice was going out.
Oh, yeah.
We took the snow dogs out. After about 2-3 hours, we took the snow dogs off.
Yep.
We came back out. The ice was getting real shady. We were going to fish till 3 or 4. We had 7-8 of us out there doing some content. I think we lasted till about 1.
Yep.
And there was ice breaking away from shore, pooling up, and all this stuff. And Tony he was wearing one of our new float suits for the season that we released now this year. He had it on. It was a prototype he was testing and this and that. And we're like, you want to test if it floats? And being the shirt off the back guy we talked about, Tony goes, yep, I'll go in. I mean, it was literally that quick of a conversation. And Drew was like, should we film this? And we didn't have him go in, but there was zero coaxing involved. It was, hey, would you want to go into the ice and test? Tony goes, yep.
Yeah. I mean, it's no. Two reasons on that thought. It's one, I figured it's something that it's got to be done because we can't just sit there and go, yeah, these are great suits, and okay, well, no one ever sees it in the water. It's like, let's show it in the water. Like, I felt perfectly comfortable wearing that suit. And also there was that part, we had like 7 guys there. So it's like, if something goes south, I'm getting out. No big deal. And the truck is maybe 100 yards away.
Yeah.
So
and we didn't do it, but most people, I don't know how to word this without being mean to Tony, most sane people would have instantly been like,
I never claimed to be sane.
Not a chance, dude. I'm not jumping it. It was like, what do you think? Yep, I'll do it. We caught some good fish that day.
We did. That was
I watched you windmill a pile of crappies for a while there.
That was unbelievable because we were also using some of the new Nico plastics.
Yep.
That was actually my first time seeing those new plastics.
Yeah, Nico has got it going on this year. I mean, that's something I expect to see in everyone's cart and basket at this show as they run over to Thorn Brothers there, and they're going to be buying them plastics. I mean, they are awesome. I got to use them last winter, as did you. I used them in the boat this summer, this spring. They're very versatile plastic for year-round use. And, you know, I think we need to grab a victim, Tony.
I think we do.
Are people avoiding us? We have a hot seat to Tony's left over there. If you're just listening, you don't see it, but we have a hot seat over there. And Tony's going to grab a victim. We have a number of our pro team members here at this show hanging out, having a good time. And we're trying to get... Who are you throwing at?
I don't know. Someone in a Clam jersey.
Oh, Kyle Lynn. We know Kyle.
Sorry, I was talking.
Kyle's hanging out. Hey, what's up, Tad? What up, Kyle?
Morning.
We ambushed you.
I got hit with a quarter.
Did you at least pick it up?
No, Tad took it.
No, it's right there. I see it.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Tony literally threw a quarter at Kyle Lynn as he was walking by when I said we need a victim. I already introduced Kyle or Tony as the guy that'll give you the shirt off the back. So, and he's so quick to just do anything that you need. So I should have known better than I'm like, we need a victim that either someone was going to get hit or tackled in the next 30 seconds by Tony and drugged to the chair.
You even have to get up. This is great.
We talked a little bit early ice. We talked shows. For those of you that don't know Kyle Lynn, Kyle's been on our podcast before. Kyle's a guide on Lake Mille Lacs. Fishes a ton. Ice fishes from the second there's ice. Sometimes a second before there is ice. Kunkel. All the way until you can't get out.
I was part of that group
too. So we did some ice fishing last year on Mille Lacs, caught some nice walleyes, had some fun. We talked a little bit about this winter. We're expecting a normal winter.
I hope so.
And last winter, I know when you and I were talking about Mille Lacs, it was different, right? There was no people out there. You had reefs to yourself. The fish behavior was different. Now, all that behind us, we were coming into, and we're confident, a normal ice season. What are you doing different now this year as a Mille Lacs guide, a Mille Lacs angler, so that our listeners can go, okay, I'm going to go to Mille Lacs. It's a normal season. What are some things I need to know?
This year, God willing, we'll have really good ice and we'll have a normal season. But one of the bonuses for this year coming up is we actually get to keep more than one fish.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Right now, it's 2 fish between 18 and 20 inches, which there are a ton of those in the lake right now. I would say every 5th fish you catch is in that slot.
Yeah.
So anglers can expect to come up and get daily limits of more than one fish.
And Tony's over here pumping his fist like he's going to go catch 2.
Well, every time I took Tony out last year, he came home with a limit of walleye.
Because there was 1.
Well, every time, though.
Hey, it was a limit.
Yeah, it was a limit.
I'm sorry. No, Tony can catch them. I'm kidding.
So this year, anglers can look forward to taking home 2 fish between
bad
that
for a
18 to
panfish
20
guy.
inches, which is that, just over the perfect sandwich size.
18 to 20?
Yep, 18 to 20.
And
So
you can keep 2 between 18 and 20. So
Yep.
Got
And that is what's expected to carry on through the winter. They will revise the regs in December and go forward from there, but it's expected that those stay the same as they have since
love it.
August. And then as well as the lake was pretty much untouched the last 2 winters by anglers due to deep snow or lack of ice. Those who did get out had fantastic success, as you know.
Yeah.
So this winter coming into it, the lake's gone 2 whole years without all the ice castle pressure, without all the people. There's not 30,000 people on the lake
Right.
in any given weekend. The bite carried through all the way to ice out.
Yeah.
So anglers can expect to see that same thing going into it this year, if not better than last year.
That's exciting. And I was out there last year with Kyle a couple times, and you're not wrong. It was like mid-February. There should be thousands of ice castles on Mille Lacs.
And we were the only
We
ones
were
out
the
there.
only ones. I think we saw a couple rogue guys on 4-wheelers kind of roaming around. Mm-hmm. And I remember looking around, and Drew was out there. A few of our team members like Clam, and we're like, have you ever in mid-February seen Mille Lacs like this? And it's like, no, like no one out there. And it was funny because like I know on Mille Lacs on these reefs, I'm farthest from the expert on Mille Lacs, but usually you kind of pick your spot, set up, because there's so many houses set up on the edge of these reefs, right? I watched Kyle, I say the word hole hop lightly, hole hop for about a half a mile down a reef, and because he had it to himself. And you caught a big fish.
I did.
And it was the bite got really tough for a period of time. I remember when we were there, we were marking them. They weren't biting. They were just sniffing. We were doing some content kind of over here. And I think I might have told the story before, but it's worth telling again. Kyle got mad at him. Kyle's like, kind of like, leave me alone. I'm going to go catch a walleye. And I think our group was like, oh, Kyle's pissed right now at these walleyes. They're in trouble. And you went on a rogue mission. I remember watching you. I'm like, okay, there he is. He's kind of small. Now he's a dot. I think that's still Kyle on the horizon. And then I get a phone call, big fish, stuck a pig. And you literally chased a school of fish. I'm not exaggerating. How far was that? It was a half a mile.
I would say, half a mile, 3/4 of a mile.
Jeez.
It's the great part about those mud flats. Some of them are 5 miles long. So
Yeah.
it's endless opportunities. If one spot's not working, you just pick up, move a mile. You're still on the same piece of structure, but a little different.
Yeah. No, that's wallful. It's I'm excited. I'm gonna go fish Mille Lacs a little bit this winter too. It is cool to hear about the 2 walleye thing. I mean, I like to eat walleye. I like to eat fish. I mean, I think we all do. I mean, I'm definitely not the one that fills my freezer, but you put me on Mille Lacs and I catch 2 19-inch walleyes.
Having a walleye dinner.
They
that
are
night.
coming home with me.
Yeah, and not to mention, if you're not sold on just the 2 walleye, the perch are back. The Mille Lacs perch are back.
Yeah.
I've saw so many perch in the last 2 years between 3/4 of a pound and 2 pounds.
Yeah.
It's uncanny how many fish are actually. I mean, Tommy caught those 4 back to back, just walleye fishing.
I remember
all
that.
over a pound.
They were all nice. And yeah, I mean, I remember when I was younger in high school, this would have been late 90s, we'd go to Mille Lacs and we'd catch buckets of them big perch. Mm-hmm. And it was a true perch destination. People from all over the country would come to Mille Lacs and perch fish, just like a Devil's Lake, right? And then, as you know, Kyle, better than the rest of us, there's a period of time where it was like, you want to catch a perch? No, we're not going to Mille Lacs. It was tough.
Very
tough. Small,
tough.
Almost. I heard people even say things like non-existent.
Yeah,
And
for
what
many
do you
years.
think why do you think they're back? Like, why do you
I think the
we're-
lack of angling pressure, because it was such a hot commodity for over a decade.
Sure.
It became like, we're going to go perch fishing, we're going to go to Mille Lacs, we're going to fill our buckets. The bite is that good. And then eventually that your class ran out and
Yeah.
there was nothing to follow it up.
Yeah. Makes sense.
You know, if you take all the fish out of the lake, you're going to have a deficit somewhere.
Yes.
And I think it took 10 years, but we're back.
Yeah.
It's coming back very strong.
Yeah. What are those perch feeding on, you think, mostly?
Bloodworms, minnows, small tullibees, small walleye. I mean, you name it. They're chasing shiners. They're chasing bugs. During the summer, they're out in the mud flats just gorging on mayflies, fish flies.
Yeah. I know there was one that Tommy caught. We didn't weigh it, but that thing had to have been darn near 2 pounds.
I would believe it.
I mean, that first one he caught that day we went out with you, I mean, all of us were like,
well, it looked like he had a 19-inch walleye on when he was bringing it up.
It was giant.
Yeah.
And I remember we kept that thing alive for a bit, got some photos with it. I mean, that thing was an absolute mule.
Yeah, and when you laid it in his hand, his hand disappeared.
Correct.
So
yeah, that's cool. That's good to see. Well, that's exciting. So 2 fish on Mille Lacs, that's got to get ice anglers jacked up.
I know I am.
The perch bite bouncing back, awesome.
Yep.
I think it's wonderful. Kyle, if somebody wants to reach out to you, get a trip going, how do they do it?
Facebook, Instagram, or my website.
Yeah.
www.firstkguideservice.com.
Yep.
Or give me a call, 320-209-0060.
Perfect. First K Guide Service on social media. Give Kyle a call. The thing about Kyle that's awesome is not only where you catch fish, you're going to learn a whole bunch of stuff. It's always fun. I mean, every time I've gone fishing with Kyle Mille Lacs, I go away with some tidbits of information that I'm like, I never would have approached the structure the same way you approached it, and we caught fish. So give him a jingle, hit him up on social media, and we're going to have a good ice season.
Thanks, boys.
All right, brother.
What jig or what bait do you think is going to be dynamite this year on Mille Lacs?
Blade spoon, rattling blade spoon. In white or silver glitterback, or the new, like the koi color, but more with the white solid background with the koi splatter over it. Anything to mimic the young of the year tullibee, especially out in the mud flats, is the best thing you can have out there. White, silver, something bright and shiny like that, because the big walleye are chasing the tullibee schools around, feeding on them all winter because they're high in fat content.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So, all right.
Perfect.
Thanks, guys.
I'm kind of getting high on fat content right now. That's where Kyle's like, later, boys.
See ya.
Yeah, find another victim for us.
Another one?
Yeah. Dude, Kyle is a stud on Mille Lacs, man.
Yes.
If I follow him on social media, oh, geez, we got the youngster.
And just like that, folks, we're out of here.
Yeah. Look at this. We got, how do you know us?
Who are you?
Get up right up next to the mic like this. We got the one and only Ben Johnson here right now. Ben is my middle boy, my middle son. Ben loves these shows because he likes to help talk to people.
Yep.
You usually help the promo table.
Yeah.
You get to hang out with people when they're bought something cool and they're happy and they come get something for free. See, you're bright. You're smart. You can talk to somebody that is super excited and they're not worried about talking about a problem. Mm-hmm. So Benny loves to ice fish. Real quick, though, before we jump into a little ice fishing talk with Ben, Ben has an infatuation with garbage cans at sports shows, Tony, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
Maybe you guys tell the story.
Well, how can I put this nicely? I call it an attitude correction. Towards me. He's lipping off a little bit, just kind of, running his mouth, which is okay. I mean, yeah. But he also learned real quick, you got to be careful running your mouth to someone that's 3 times your size and can pick you up like you're nothing and gently place you upside down in a garbage can.
Was that fun, Ben?
No.
No, you remember it?
I thought it was
Yes.
fun. I thought it was great. Your dad was laughing. he thought it was the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, so we know what the smell was the rest of the day was Ben walking around after getting dug out of the trash can. So
And I did feel bad enough where I'm like, I should probably go get him out. And I just grabbed you by your ankles and just lift you up like, all right, there you go.
Ben. So Ben, you've been at a lot of ice shows with us.
Yeah.
This is the first one of the year. A lot of things going on. I'm looking at a pretty good crowd running around here at the North Metro Ice Show. Why do you like ice shows so much? What's your favorite thing about the ice shows?
So it's kind of like seeing everybody here, and like a lot of the people that you see are like starting ice fishing, so you can kind of talk to them about like what to use, like how to start and stuff, what's good for what fish and everything. You can kind of teach them some things and help them out in the ice fishing category.
Yeah. Yeah, you like teaching people?
Yeah.
What's your favorite, like if you had to be an expert at something, what is it? Fish houses, rods, reels, tackle, line, clothing?
It'd probably have to be rods and reels.
Yes, you like rods and reels.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite? You have a favorite?
My favorite rod is probably the Scepter Carbon.
The Scepter Carbon?
Scepter
Yep.
Carbon,
Good
yeah.
choice.
Yep.
Good choice.
Yep.
And then my favorite rod is probably the new one that I got, the Masago.
The Masago reel, yep.
Yeah.
What have you ever caught a walleye? We just talked to Kyle Lynn about Mille Lacs and going walleye fishing on Mille Lacs, and we just learned we can keep 2 walleyes on Mille Lacs now this year, which is awesome. Have you ever caught a walleye from the top bunk on Mille Lacs before?
Yes.
You want to tell that story?
I got to hear this one.
Yeah.
So we were up on Mille Lacs, dead sticking. Well, I don't know if my dad.
You were dead sticking.
I was dead sticking. I was just laying on my phone with my rod underneath, so that if I get a bite, it doesn't fall in. So I was just watching my phone, and then all of a sudden I feel a sudden thump on my back. So I look over at my rod, and my rod tip is just bent completely. I grab the rod, set the hook, and then all of a sudden a crazy fight starts, and I start fighting a walleye from the top bunk.
It was a big one too.
Yeah, like
It was 23 inches?
21.
21 inches, yeah.
Yeah.
It was funny because, I remember that was Ice Team University, probably 6, 7 years ago,
Yeah.
something like that. And Benny was pretty little, probably 7, 8 years old.
Yeah.
And we had Thane Jensen was with me, and Ben and Jack in a hard shack. And it was kind of gross outside, whipping and windy. So we kind of hunkered down at what we thought was a productive spot. We struggled. I think I caught one, Jack caught one, you caught one, and I think that's all we caught. Poor Thaner didn't mark a fish. He swears to this day, and I wasn't looking at his Vexlar, but he swears to this day he didn't even mark one, let alone catch one. And I remember vividly, I'm jigging, Thane's across the fish house, Jack's to my left, Ben's on the right / up on the bunk. And I remember I caught one, Ben caught one, Jack and Thane had not caught one. Well, Jack went into Thane's hole because Thane was frustrated, and Jack catches one. And Thaner's like, I'm done. I'm just done. But I remember that day. That was fun.
Yeah.
Top bunk walleye. It was a nice one. I remember that was the nicest one we caught that trip. You caught it was a really nice fish. So there's your technique. Lay on your rod on the top bunk
With your phone.
What
were you doing on the phone?
I was playing this it was like a, like Connect the Dots. It's like a Connect the Dots game. Yeah.
Okay, so
You remember that?
Oh,
I
he's a
do.
kid. He's a kid. They remember all that finer detail stuff. It's ridiculous. We can't.
Tony, you
remember.
don't know your middle name.
I have to look at my driver's license to see it.
So top bunk, Benny. Benny, we caught a bunch of crappies last year too.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, you were catching them pretty good. You were setting the hook, wheeling them in. We had a nice fish fry from those crappies. So we live in the Twin Cities here, and I spend my time guiding the metro. So Benny gets to go on a lot of these excursions with me and help out in different things. So we're more in panfish world. Me, Tony as well. A lot of people in the summertime, we're chasing bass and walleyes and doing things like that. But in the wintertime, it seems like everything transitions to crappies and bluegills. And I think that's for a number of reasons. One, they're plentiful, they're fun to catch, they can be challenging, they taste great in the wintertime. But for me, taking my kids out like Ben, it's fun to be on top of fish.
Yep.
I mean, Ben, if we don't see any fish for a while, it's pretty boring, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you like to catch bluegills and crappies because there's action.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
They're the same way.
yeah, you want to catch numbers of fish.
Yep. I'd rather
Yeah.
catch with kids. I've found over the last few years with my kid, taking them out, quantity is better than quality.
Yeah.
Because if I can keep them active, and put them, they'll have a time of their life catching 6-inch gills all day long. Now I can run around outside of them, find the bigger fish, move them over, like, hey, we got, here's some 8s, here's some 9s, let's get on those. But during that time period, it's like if they're catching fish, we're staying out longer.
Yeah.
Because they're not getting bored, they're not getting tired, or my youngest is always hungry because I don't know why, but
Ben loves snacks.
so I think I have to have like a cooler the size of my truck bed full of snacks for my youngest.
What's your favorite snack, Ben?
To eat on the ice?
Yep. Going ice fishing. We're stopping at the gas station. What are you picking up?
I gotta get a Code Red Mountain Dew.
Okay.
And then some sort of chip like sour cream, cheese and sour cream ruffles.
Oh, that's
Baked.
solid. Now, I have a really serious question for you. This summer, the last couple times we went fishing, you guided me. I sat in the back of the boat on a butt seat. It was awesome. Ben ran the boat. Now, what can I expect this winter? Can I sit back and you're going to cut the holes and you're going to deal?
Why not? Right?
All right. Well, you heard it here first, folks. Ben said he's going to guide me when we go fishing this winter.
Well, I think
cut
there's
the
a more
holes, run the
important
active
question.
target.
Ben, how much are you going to charge your dad?
Oh, yeah, Tony, you come on now.
Not gonna be too cheap, you know.
Yeah.
Just make him
$7.
Make him provide the snacks, right?
Oh, we always provide snacks.
There you
The
go.
one thing about ice fishing with me is you're probably going to get fed. There's going to be cheddar brats. There's going to be chips. There's going to be cookies. Like I'm always cooking. I got a grill with me at all times. I've learned a long time ago that a hot cheddar brat or something to eat on the ice, even when the bite's really tough, makes the biggest difference.
Absolutely.
Just kind of gives you a new attitude, a new perspective, and you just get back after it.
Well, and the nice thing is too is sometimes on those days it's like that hot meal. It's like, okay, that just warmed me up a little bit inside. Like, all right, let's do this. Let's continue on in the afternoon. I mean,
Yep.
tournaments. I've been with you. Yep. 12 o'clock. Fire up the grill.
Yep.
It's like sweet.
I usually can't eat a brat all of spring because I ate so many during the wintertime. Right, Ben? Like, do we even have brats in the springtime at home?
No.
We eat so many brats all wintertime that I'm like, I don't want to look at a brat till like midsummer. And then I'm ready again, but yeah, it's pretty good. All right, Ben, parting shot. What's one last thing you want to let our listeners know? Anything you want. What do you want to tell you? You have a girlfriend out there that wants to hear something, or what do you want to tell someone?
I don't know.
You get the mic for 20 seconds to tell a fishing story, a tip, or some kind of send-off before we make you go grab another victim.
So whenever you're driving snowmobiles, ATVs, snow dogs, make sure you look for slush piles because you don't want to run into them.
That's a really good advice. Look out for slush piles. Don't do what I do.
And make sure that your the hitch is latched on your machine too.
Valid. All right, next guest. Thanks, Benny. Yep. Grab somebody else in the Clam jersey that wants to come chat. I think Aaron O'Connor or Sean Cox was looking for.
Oh, we got Shawnee boy here.
Oh,
We got Sean.
oh boy,
What's happening, brother?
Hey, gentlemen.
One of the Mr. Ice Junkies himself, Sean Cox. Sean, I want to start off by saying thank you. You helped us set up this entire booth.
Heck yeah.
In fact, so did Tony. So thank you so much. I mean, this booth is the best it's ever been at the North Metro Ice Show, and I mean that. It looks darn nice and really inviting, and we rounded it out nice. Sean also helped us set up State Fair, worked the State Fair, does a number of things. This dude right here, Sean Cox, is an absolute fish head.
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah,
And-
I like the open water and ice. So
Yeah.
I'm ready.
What's your jam? Like, what species are you hitting up this winter the most?
Crappies probably.
Yeah.
Most likely. Some big gills.
Yep.
I like big gills.
Yep.
Walleyes. A few walleyes. Usually early ice is walleyes, and then
Yeah.
I switch over to panfish.
Yeah. Get the easy stuff out of the way.
Yep.
Yeah, and I say that modestly. I would argue that a giant bluegill is one of the toughest things in the lake to catch.
Yeah, pound for pound, they're one of the hardest fighting fish.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, yeah, we'll do some walleye fishing. But, yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm probably going to chase bluegills and crappies. And you're fishing western Wisconsin a lot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm over there probably once a month or every month or two.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. And how are you targeting your bluegills? Are you an aggressive angler when you chase panfish, or are you a finesse angler? What would you consider yourself better at?
It really depends on the bite, but you got to try until you catch them. So
Yeah.
if I'm, not catching them under a finesse slip float, then, probably start jigging some plastics, or
Yep.
even sometimes they want some meat.
Yep. Isn't it funny, like, how at times they eat all kinds of different stuff, And it's funny because like I've seen it to where like people always ask, and you both probably get this too, like, what's the magic bait? There really, I don't know if there ever really is one. Am I wrong? Like,
No,
there's got to be. There's multiple magic baits at all time in every situation. So, I guess where I'm going with that is like, this is the confidence thing, right? Like, if I ask Tony the same question I asked Sean, and then I ask myself the same, we're all probably going to say different things, you know. But I think the biggest thing, Sean nailed it, is you got to go out there on the ice and see what the fish want.
Yep.
That's the thing that we sometimes, all of us, forget about. Like, we go out there with our favorite lure and our favorite rod, and we want them to eat that, and we expect them to eat that. Well, we don't even know what the fish are doing that day.
Well, that'll really ruin your confidence too. And if you have a confidence bait that's not working, like I said, that'll ruin your confidence, and you got to switch it up.
Yeah.
And you can't always think they're going to eat on just one thing.
Yeah. How many days on the ice do you get by using one rod, one setup, one jig, one lure?
Never.
Yeah, it's pretty rare. I would agree with you on that. I mean, I can probably like start the day with like a pinhead, and catch some crappies, but then you always get that time of day where like that bite shuts off.
Yep.
Yep,
And if you
little bit
continue
of a
to
lull.
beat your head around against the wall with the pinhead, you might go, man, I'm getting Heisman by the. Well, you got to change up what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a confidence thing. You nailed it. And I always think like, I always laugh, like we talk to anglers, good anglers that are like, yeah, I didn't catch anything last night. The fish were off. They weren't biting. You hear
It's
that?
the weather.
You hear that term? It's like
Should have been here
the
yesterday.
fish bite every day.
Yep.
And it's
gotta
like,
eat.
well, what
we
did-
eat, they eat.
100%. And you're like, what did you use? And they're like, oh, my favorite chartreuse, whatever, jig head. It's all I use. If they don't bite it, they don't bite anything else.
Yep.
Well, did you try anything else? Nope. Did you move to a new spot? Nope.
Why?
Right. And they're like, they weren't biting. Well, that's a pretty bad test, right? So like, to Sean's point, no, you got to riff through some rods and some lures and some tackle options to get these fish to go.
I mean, when you go out, do you only bring one rod on the ice? I mean, I'm fairly certain I have too many, and 3 of them are rigged up all different. You know, like a little jig on one, you know, for jigging plastics or jigging even waxies or spikes, and you know, the pinhead or like Tico flash or whatever. You know, you got to mix it up. You got to. Sometimes it's just a plain hook with a minnow under a bobber.
Yep. Do we only have one rod? No. I say that modestly because we already established, Sean, that we are ice fishing dorks.
Yep.
Tony and I established that early in our podcast, and I know you are too, Sean, with all due respect. You're a dork too. Join the club. We have a freaking arsenal with us when let's not kid ourselves. Like, we take way more stuff than we ever need, but that's part of the fun.
Probably
way
too much.
Jig boxes of colors and plastics and jig heads and sizes and shapes. Rod boxes. I know when I go ice fishing, I grab the rods I think I'm going to use, and I have more rods in the truck if I need those. And not half the time, 90% of the time, I never go back to the truck. But that's part of the fun.
I've got literally a Rubbermaid tote with a towel in the bottom. Actually, you talked about this a few years ago. I'm like, that is a great idea.
That's how I store all my rods.
And I have all my panfish rods in there, and I'll grab, 4 or 6 of them when I'm going out on the ice. But that whole bin is sitting right there in the bed of the truck because it's like, all right, they're not. None of these are working. I need a different action. Yeah, I've had days. I got no problem beelining it back to the truck because, if you're on a machine, it's a lot quicker. But overall, it's like, no, I know I have it with, and by golly, I know it's gonna work, so I'm gonna go grab it.
All you do is beeline back to the truck and to the spot. I've seen you.
Oh yeah.
You have one speed.
No, I got 2.
No, you don't.
I do.
Slow and stop.
Slow and stop.
Yeah. What's the Talladega Nights, Ricky Bobby? If you're not first, you're last.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've seen Tony straight up send it over like plowed roads to get from spot A to spot B, and spot A to spot B is only 40 yards away. Wow!
Got to make it quick.
You broke anything on your machine before, Tony? I'm guessing you have a good weld guy.
I'm okay with it.
Sean, what are you the most excited for this winter?
Just having a better ice season
Yeah.
than the last year or two, man. Like I would like some early ice as
Yes.
soon as possible, preferably.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. Yesterday.
I told you we were ice fishing dorks. I'm not kidding. Like, we had frost today, and we all smiled. And I told earlier, like, most of my neighbors are probably like, ugh.
Yep.
And I'm like skipping through the yard, taking my dog out at sunrise this morning because we are that deranged in the head.
I wouldn't call it deranged. Well, okay, maybe in some people's minds we're slightly deranged. My dad thinks I am.
Yes. Well, your dad would know best.
Oh, yeah, he knows best. But then, well, the guy also framed houses in January and February in Minnesota for 20 years.
Yeah.
So he does not do the cold.
So what do they say? Apples and trees?
Something like that.
You're deranged. He's deranged. I mean,
Well, I went into the heating industry, so it's like I didn't have to work outside in the cold.
it's much warmer.
Much warmer.
Yeah.
Much warmer.
I get it.
We got some cool buttons here, and who's coming up next? Because I think our whoever it is going to get this for their entrance. So I'm going to let when Sean's done, he gets to pick the victim that gets that as their entrance.
I got this.
You got
So
this?
we're going to blame you.
That's fine.
Yeah. What else? Okay, we got that one. What else we got here? Oh, that's fitting. Halloween's on Thursday. But no, man, Sean, dude, you're better. That one kind of lasted a while. Dude, you've been an awesome member of our team. Seriously, like you have a lot of clout in the industry, probably more than you know. A lot of people know who you are. I watch you on social media. People listen to what you say wholeheartedly. You always stay above board. You have tons of integrity. I can't thank you enough. What are some things that you want to leave, and I've asked this to a couple of our guests, leave with our listeners, maybe a tidbit or something that you want them to know that's more specific to you, something you do maybe different, something that has helped you find more success on the ice. What's that one or two inside the brain of Sean Cox ice fishing tips?
I got a couple.
Sure.
First thing first is ice safety. Always go out there with, safety in mind.
Yes.
No fish is worth your life or your buddies or even, hypothermia or anything like that. My second one, you can't catch them from the couch.
Yes.
If you want to fish, go fish.
Yep.
If you're thinking that you don't want to, don't do it. But
Yes.
like I said, you can't catch them from the couch.
Yes.
Get out there. All you have to do is get out there. And if you don't have the means to do it, ask your friends or ask that there's plenty of people out there like myself that's willing to take anybody out fishing, even
Yes.
just one time to see if they like it, or several times to get them more into the sport.
Yep.
On Sean's point there, I mean, not everyone has an auger.
Sure.
Yeah.
Go out there. There's going to be holes already drilled. Someone's been out there.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them you can kick open with your foot, or one big thing, find an ice angle.
Yeah.
I mean, I had plenty of people that just, hey, my auger's not working, or I don't have an auger. Well, here, where are you thinking
Yeah.
of fishing? Oh, right over there.
Yeah.
Oh, here, take mine, drill some holes, bring it back, or better yet, here, jump on. We got holes all over here.
Yeah.
Start fishing.
You're
So,
right. I mean, there's not many anglers that are probably going to shut you down if they walk up and they're like, hey, my auger's not working. You cut me a few holes. I mean, it happens to all three of us multiple times a year.
Yep.
I guarantee it. We're like, yeah, where are you at? I'll come rip you a couple holes. And to Sean's point, too, like you can't catch from the couch. That is so right. And I've learned that even on some of my worst days of fishing, I actually learn the most.
Sure.
So, like, if you're like, oh, man, conditions are tough, I'm not going to catch squat today, you might be surprised on what you actually learn and take away from a day like that, where you go out there and the fish are not cooperating, they're not biting, and maybe you overcome some obstacles you didn't think you could, and you find some success. So, and that's, I mean, it sounds cliche, but it is so true. You cannot catch fish from the, well, there's some couches inside some ice castles.
Ice castles, I bet, yeah.
But the point being is you got to just go out there and do it.
And
You got to go, and we all have tough days. I mean, and we talked about this last week with Bart, Sobey, and Brick. Everyone sees on social media our successes, right? We're all guilty of that. I'm probably going to post the big fish I caught that day, right? They don't see what it takes sometimes, and they don't see the days that we don't catch anything.
No.
Because I don't care what anyone thinks. I'm looking at Mr. Dave Gentz walk past me just a minute ago. There's days he'll look you in the eye and say, I don't catch anything. And this is arguably the best ice fisherman to grace our planet.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's just how it is. But social media can jade all of us because we just see usually the high points. The high points. You don't see somebody go on social media and post a picture of a 7 1/4 inch crappie. You're not seeing it.
No, only for Tiny Tuesday.
How many do you catch? I catch plenty of 7 inch crappies.
I gotta dig through. I gotta go through them to get to the big ones.
Yes.
You know?
So that's good advice. Love it, man, dude. Appreciate you so much. I know you're going to be at a lot of shows with us. If you get a chance to see Sean at one of the shows, come pick his brain. You won't regret it. You'll have a good time. You're definitely going to get a fist bump. I know that for sure. And we appreciate you, brother.
Thank you.
All right,
guys,
so
man.
remember,
Appreciate it.
you got a victim.
Oh, I'll go pick someone right now.
Yeah, I think he's got someone in mind.
Thanks,
Oh,
guys.
he's
Yeah,
got
thank
one.
you,
He's
Sean.
got one. I
Appreciate
know
you,
he
dude.
does.
If you can't have fun, then why do it?
Exactly.
Yeah,
I mean, that's why I love ice fishing.
yeah,
The good days, the bad days. I mean, and I'll admit, I get more bad days than I do good days.
yeah. Me too.
But part of those bad days, I took something away from those bad days. What was going wrong? What can I do better? And all that.
Sean set you up for failure, Mike.
Oh,
I'm sure he
boy.
did.
So we made a decision that whoever you pick, they're gonna have an entrance. So we have Mike Ray.
Magic Mike.
Well. What happens at your
This
house
got
on the
in-
weekends?
This got interesting.
Mike Raymond. So we had Mike on a couple weeks ago at Shields. Talk about an ice fishing dork. We've already decided that we're all ice fishing dorks.
1000%.
So you're in good company.
Oh yeah.
Mike Raymond is absolute ice head. You will fish. What did we decide at Shields? How many months did you fish last year?
Last year was like 5. I've had 7-month seasons.
Yeah.
Couple years back actually, but I try to make sure I average at least 100 days on ice
Yeah.
a season.
Yeah, and your son's with you today too.
Yep, my
I saw him
son's-
running around selling stuff.
Son's with me, really amped about learning the tournament style of fishing and the run and gun, and
Yep.
he's learned that he doesn't like using his house anymore either. He stays mobile, and we move and we stay on fish. Now obviously that's pan fishing.
Right. Yeah.
You can sit and wait, or you can chase him down.
Is the student catching up to the master?
I think he's got a long way to go if you want to get there.
Yeah.
But he did. He kept his opinions to himself and kind of listened last
That's
year
awesome.
and got to fish a tournament with me as a sub. And I think we took second place, and we did pretty well for a team.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would agree 100%. I've gotten to know your son a little bit throughout the years. Wonderful kid. Like exponentially getting better at not just fishing, but working a booth, engaging with the consumer, educating people. I love to see it. I mean, I have kids of my own, and I just love to see how they continue to try to be students of the game, and they just love it. And
Absolutely.
I think it's I don't want to say it's a lost art, because I think when we were kids, you were kind of the weird one if you fished, weren't you?
Yep.
Now I think it's kind of an in thing to do.
Yeah.
Fishing, hunting. I feel like now it's an in sport for these high school and college kids. Wouldn't you agree?
100%. Going back to my kid, not to talk him up, but he went into trap and archery and bass team, and they have a lot more of those outdoor activities versus just collegiate sports.
Yep.
And I think it's really cool that they're pushing those things. The kids are learning a valuable outdoor skill. They're learning how to hunt or shoot better, learning how to catch fish, which essentially is a survival skill. And you can put food on the table with it. So
Yeah. No, that's awesome. The trap thing is blowing up.
yeah.
Like that did not exist when we were younger, and now I feel like every high school's got a trap shooting team,
Yeah.
and these kids are good.
When I graduated in 06, I was asking our activity director at school, like, hey, what would it take to get like a trap club? Just a club in general. Like because in Buffalo we got a trap, arena right on the other side of town. It's
Sure.
like if you went up to them and said, hey, we're going to start a trap shooting club with the high school, they're going to basically open up their doors like, hey, what do you need from us?
Yeah,
What can we do to help? And they told me like, there's just no demand. I'm like, are you kidding me? There is a demand for this. And now was it 2019, was it? Buffalo was the state trap
Yeah.
champions.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy how far
Like,
it's come.
I'm like, what? What did I miss here?
In inner city sports, maybe they all have a lacrosse team or something of that nature, and you get out to the suburbs and the rural areas, and they got trap teams and bass teams, and it's really cool to see that coming into the school and the education system, and then seeing the kids that really love it and just growing their passion for the sport, and then sharing that with other people and trying to pass it along in the industry.
Yeah. No, I'm not a hunter or shooter, to be honest. So, like, I envy some of these kids. Like, there's a gentleman that I know. Well, Jeff Beckwith. You guys know Jeff. He's on our pro staff. He lives up in Bemidji area. His son was, like, a national champion. I mean, this was years ago. He's now out of high school, out of college. He's a police officer. But at one point, like, the kid went to, like, national competitions and won them. And I'm like, imagine, like, that poor bird doesn't stand a chance.
No.
Like, if he's got that level of skill, and this poor duck, pheasant, whatever you're shooting, because a lot of trap shooting that's your idea. You're not training to go hunt deer,
Correct.
right? You're shooting clay pigeons per se. Well, technically they are called clay pigeons. So I would imagine like that waterfall comes out and it's game over.
Yeah, it's hilarious because we're on the way down here, and my son said something boneheaded, and even his buddy Derek was in the back seat agreeing with me. He's like, "Trap doesn't make me better at shooting birds," and I said, "Excuse me?"
Yeah, I would think it does.
I said, "That's like saying that a guy that works at Discount Tire isn't better on a NASCAR pit crew than somebody that's never touched a tire before."
Right.
And he was,
Right.
just arguing the point. And it's like, no, you're literally shooting a gun at a moving target. Like, it's legitimately the practice of what you're doing.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you can't practice shooting a bird
Right.
because you hit it or you don't.
That's
and
as
it
close
drops
as you get.
Correct.
And
That is your
there's
practice.
no catch and release with when you're duck hunting or
No.
bird
No.
hunting at all. It's unfortunately.
But muscle memory,
Yeah.
or you're spending a lot of dollars on three-inch shells.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And shells are not cheap
No.
these days.
I drive past South Diamond Lake all the time going to work at Clam, and every morning I see trucks and trailers, pitch black. They're out there hunting, and it must be a good spot because there's trailers there all the time. Or they don't shoot anything and there's nothing else around, because I don't know if I've ever heard a gunshot.
It was
so
a good
maybe
spot
maybe they don't
until you
see
blew it up.
anything. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know.
a good spot.
I don't see squat flying around over there. So more than likely, it's the only lake within like miles. So they're like, oh, we'll go there, freeze our tails off, not see anything, and go home and drink coffee.
Yeah.
Pretty
You
much.
know, but I know that's pretty cool. You know, but let's get back to ice fishing. We were out the very first show. Crowd's picking up. I can hear it. Hear people slamming and jamming. Now, Mike is a hardcore tournament angler. That's what really gets you going, right?
100%.
So let's stick down that road. Let's give our listeners. Let's say we have people that are thinking about getting into tournament fishing. They don't know if they want to do it yet. What's a couple pieces of advice you would give them, maybe to help them prepare, either to determine whether it's for them or not for them? Like, what are some things that they probably need to know if they're going to get into this tournament thing?
You're going to lose your fish house, and you're pretty much not going to fish with one because it's going to slow you down. So you're probably going to be fishing off of a machine if you want to be competitive, right? You can go fish Bassmasters with a 16-foot Lund if you want to, but you're not going to get to the spot as the guys with the 400 Merc and the 22-foot bass boat.
Sure.
So, you want an ATV or a snowmobile or a UTV, some variety of that. We wear our houses essentially, so you got to have good cold weather gear and essentially train yourself for the cold, for the endurance and the environment. When we're pre-fishing, we'll put in 12, 14 hours a day out on the ice all day. Pack a lunch and figure out creative ways so it doesn't freeze and you can still eat your lunch or go sit in the truck maybe and warm up for an hour, but you're back at it looking for fish. So really it's about mobility and staying light.
Yeah. And you're pre-fishing in all conditions. So it's one of those things to where if you fish a tournament on a Saturday or Sunday, you don't take Thursday and Friday off because the conditions are crappy.
No.
You have to be out there. And that's probably the one thing that tournament anglers in general, open water as well, don't comprehend. They understand the sport of it, and they want to go out there and catch fish, and they want to go to a weigh-in, and that's awesome, and that's probably what, like, moves, I don't know, the heartstrings. But the work you put in ahead of tournament day is everything.
Yeah.
Or you get lucky. Let's call it what it is.
100%. And, a lot of people compare tournament guys to guides. And to an extent, yes, kind of the same kind of grind mentality. But a guide will choose to not make money that day and call a day off because it's miserable conditions. And their clients, won't have a good experience.
Sure.
Whereas we don't have a choice. We don't
Yeah.
get to choose our weather. Whenever the tournament is when it is, and whenever the days that we took off of work or out of our lives to go pre-fish that lake and travel to it, you got to put in the time. If
Yes.
it's 30-mile-an-hour winds and 20 below, then they're done that.
Yeah.
Only
Yeah.
thing showing were my eyeballs so I could look at my
I've seen
camera
it.
with
And just a solid chunk of ice on that lovely beard that you have.
and legs covered in icicles from drilling holes and
Yeah.
looking and searching and grinding.
I'd take it one step further on the guide comment. Honestly, as a guide myself, I would say tournament guys even go harder. And I say that because, like, when I'm scouting or I'm taking people fishing, I'm trying to put them on fish so they can learn, right? You're trying to catch the 15 biggest fish.
Right. You're looking for numbers.
I wouldn't
we're looking
necessarily
for the
say that's
big.
a guide's mentality even. Like, and we talk about this in the bass world. Like, I'm in Minnetonka all summer. I can go out there and catch 30 or 40 bass.
For sure.
Right? But I'm probably not winning the tournament that day. And that's the mentality. I mean, that's even to taking it so you have these guides that are out there all the time. I would say the tournament guys are even one-upping our guides to find the best fish in the lake, not just find the fish. Because I think, Raymond, you could go to any lake and find fish, 100% guaranteed. I'm 100% confident I could put you on any single lake, and you would tell me within a half a day, you want to go catch a meal of crappies? I'll show you right where they are. But that's not good enough for you. It's not. You're going to be like, I don't want a meal of crappies. I want to catch 12s and 13s and maybe. So, like,
I got to check.
it's a
cash.
totally different mindset even than good anglers think. You have to be tournament fishing. You have to be the best.
And then on the other extreme, right, a lot of people don't think about it, but it's strategy as well. Like, I'm not looking for that 16-inch crappie.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks you are. They're like, oh, they're out looking for that 1 mega. That's the last thing I do during the day. I'm
Right.
looking for the best average. I'm looking for the group of fish that I can pull 6 out of, and they all weigh, within a couple, grams of each other.
Yeah.
And that's going to get my average up. And then at the end, when I have my bag, I'm going to go look for 1 mega or 2 mega kickers to really boost my weight, right?
You're weighing these fish during pre-fishing, right?
100%.
You're usually you're sampling. These schools.
So I'll get on a school of fish or an area where there's a lot of fish, and I'll pull my scale out. And I'm always looking over my shoulder, looking for other anglers, trying to make sure they're not watching what I'm doing. You see somebody down with a scale, there's a good chance they're on some good fish.
Yes.
They want to know how much they weigh, and there's a method to the madness. So you try and be a little discreet, and there's a lot of things you do to cover your tracks sometimes, and you don't want to blow your spot up. So you're out there, you weigh some fish, you find out where you can get the best averages of multiple species, whatever you're fishing that day. And then tournament day, I probably weigh 3 to 4 times before we even come to weigh in.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, what are you talking about? And it's like, well, we have to change our water to keep the fish alive. If the fish are dead, they weigh less. They don't produce their mucus and their slime. So there's a lot of things you learn along the way. But yeah, definitely finding the better average of fish, and then you go chase your giants.
So all that said, and this does not have to have anything to do with tournament fishing. What are 3 of you fish a ton, so I'm excited to hear what your answers are to these. Your 3 goals this coming ice season. What are your 3 goals that you're setting for yourself this ice season? It doesn't have to be tournament related. It can be tournament, whatever. What are your goals?
So believe it or not, for 8 years I've been chasing to break a 15-inch crappie. And even as a tournament angler and looking and knowing how to find the big ones in the pod, and I just haven't landed one. I believe I've had 16s on and broke off under the hole. It's happened probably 2 or 3 times. Some good ice team buddies were there for one of them and give me a good ribbing about it every once in a while.
No, we wouldn't do that.
Yeah. So that's definitely one of my goals. Another goal this year is I need to actually work on that this weekend, is filling out my passport paperwork. I'm going to try and get to Winnipeg this year.
Oh, awesome.
I'm not a walleye guy at all. It's not my jam. Sure, they're tasty. I like to eat them. I'll catch them once in a while. I usually go beginning of the season one time and do the Red Lake run and Thanksgiving weekend and go catch a couple, and then I've had my fill, but I really want to catch a greenback. So
sure,
I really want to go to Winnipeg and do that trip. And then this year I'm backing off of tournaments a little more, and I want to do a little more exploration.
Sure.
So I want to do some more backcountry. Hey, there's no public access. You got to access this lake by snowmobile. It's 6 miles back, and do some more of that remote stuff. And then along those lines, I think I'm going to do some filming as well.
Good for you, man. And I know Mike Raymond, I believe well enough that I'm going to come back to you in a year and you're going to have accomplished all 3 of those.
I hope so.
I seriously, I do. I think, and I love his goal set there because they're realistic but challenging. And I firmly in my heart believe it. You're going to have a 16-inch crappie come through the ice this year. You're so darn dangerous that you know where they are and how to get them. You're going to definitely get to Winnipeg. And if you get to Winnipeg, you're going to catch a greenback. And it's freaking awesome. I've done it.
Yeah, stoked. And
then the backcountry thing, the addiction's going to set in, and you'll probably never fish a tournament again.
I may not.
You're going to go do this. We used to do it up in Chippewa National Forest. I had a good buddy back when I first met Matt Brewer and then a gentleman by the name of Brian Jones. We used to go up there in college, and our entire thought process was to fish these called dot lakes. We didn't know what they were named. We didn't know if they were mud-infested sloughs, but we would bear paw back into these trails past deer carcasses that got killed by wolves to find these lakes. And you want to know what? We caught some fish over 15 inches in some of those lakes.
I bet you did.
So I'm excited to see what you do.
You were probably the only people that fished it that season, if not for years.
The only trail we saw looked to be like a logger that drug through and cleared a path, probably because they were going to do something for the state, is my guess. Not sure 100%, but it was not an angler. And we went onto a lake, the third lake, I remember trying to find the Holy Grail. And the first 2 lakes were nothing but cesspools, just shallow, nothing there. I think we caught a couple of ratty perch. And then we went to a lake that had one deep hole in a spring. And we called that lake BFC. It's an acronym for Big Something Crappies. Because we caught 15s and 16s and 16 pounds. And they were schooled up. And we had it to ourselves. So I'm excited to hear how the season goes for you, Mike. I always love having you on the show, love chatting with you. We fished together a bunch. You absolutely know how to catch them. It's been a pleasure. And who am I kidding? I'm going to see Mike like 72 more times before we even ice fish because he's at every single ice show.
For sure.
Pretty much.
All right, man. Give us one more victim. Appreciate it. I can't thank you enough, brother.
Sounds good. Let's get
Thanks,
out there.
man.
The ice awaits.
Thanks, Mike. You got it, man.
Yeah, buddy.
So we'll get one more. We've been talking for over an hour, Tony. We'll get one more. There's Mike Raymond. Mike catches all kinds of fish. He's fishing the UPL. He fishes the NAFC. He fishes in Kings of Panfish. He fishes on all the major circuits. He's cashed a lot of checks.
Yep.
I have fun fish with him. He just knows how to get it done. It's a super, super good time.
And he's a wealth of knowledge.
Yes.
I mean,
speaking of a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah, okay.
Throw on the headset.
I'm going to.
So we did give Mike Raymond an entrance.
Okay.
I mean, it'd be fitting for O'Connor, wouldn't it? Aaron O'Connor. And
I think so.
That's so cute.
Aaron O'Connor's our next guest, and he's gonna send us on our way. I've known Aaron for a long time. Aaron and I are friends outside of fishing as we are in fishing. We met each other through football. We've done the junior bastard thing together. We've had beers together. We've cooked together. We've hung out. We've done all kinds of stuff. But Aaron, you'll see at a lot of our sports shows helping us set up booths, take down booths, work shows, work retail stores, work clam area. You kind of get to do it all. So
you got it.
What's that?
We got some reels there stacking up, I guess.
Oh, you're gonna.
I was getting signal.
Okay, so are we losing Tony?
Just for a few. I'll be
All
back.
right, take the headset off though, so you don't take everything with you.
Nah, I'm gonna leave them.
So Tony is actually going to go spool some reels. Like we said, we are actually at an ice show right now. So if you hear some noise, that's what's going on. But Aaron and I always get to start the season off usually together. We head up to Bemidji.
Yep.
We chase down some big crappies, some big bluegills, some walleyes.
Sneak in a few largemouth here
I mean,
and there.
I would argue it's probably my favorite ice trip of the year.
By far.
You know, we just get done working St. Paul. We're pretty exhausted talking to people. Not that we don't love talking to people. We wouldn't do it if we didn't.
Oh, exactly.
But it's that I know maybe it's same for you, but when I get in my truck and we're loaded and I'm heading north, Isn't it just a different feeling?
Oh, it is. It seems like the stress is off, and now we get to go have some fun.
Yeah.
And I don't sleep the night before usually when we go. I really don't.
No, and we're texting back and forth, and we're stressed. We don't even know what the heck we're going to encounter, and we already got a game plan that probably doesn't even matter.
No.
But we're already talking, and that's part of the fun of ice fishing with your buddies is the prep, the planning, all that's just as fun as the actual execution.
Oh, yeah.
Geez, Tony.
That was quick.
Did you spool anything?
Nope, Jack was able to do it. He just he just couldn't remember how to set it up for the spoolers.
Oh, perfect. So we're talking our first ice trip. Aaron and I head up. I usually bring Jack. He brings Mason. We meet up with the Holmgrens. Drew comes with the go to Bemidji. We're talking about that first ice anticipation, how we're excited to get in the truck and head north. You'd mentioned it earlier. You do the same thing with your buddies. Yep. And we go up there, and we don't know. I feel like every time we've done it like 5 years now.
This would be the 5th year,
yeah. I think like every time we go up, what we think we're going to do never ends up happening. No. Like we get up there and we're like, we're going to chase sundown walleyes on this lake. We're dialed. Doesn't happen.
It never works that way. No, it don't.
Now we're on big crappies on the basin. We're going to go chase big bluegills up in this little mud bay, or they're going to be loaded. We caught them there last year. Let's go.
No.
Nope, they're gone.
Yeah. Or we get one or two and then we move.
Yeah. It was fun, and I love it because I know Jack and Mason. Jack's my oldest boy. Mason's Aaron's boy. They're together here right now. I just saw them walk by, hanging out, talking, fishing, and they're enjoying these shows as much as we are.
They love it.
They outsell us half the time.
They do.
You put those guys over at Thorn Brothers, and it's like, I hope you have enough pinheads because these kids are coming in.
All it takes is one little kid in there with his grandpa, and he just goes to town. The boys just love it.
I got a fun story about Aaron. And that's a good one. We were speaking of our Bemidji trip. We had Aaron had to run back to shore. I won't mention why, but Aaron had to run back to shore to get some stuff, and we were doing a photo shoot, and fishing was decent at best, and we had caught a couple nice fish, and Aaron ran back to shore and he came back, and Aaron had some of the camera gear in the back of his ATV. Remember that?
Oh yes.
And Aaron
had.
So it
was still in there.
So Drew and I were like, we're gonna have some fun with O'Connor. We're gonna play a little joke on Aaron. And I think even Mason was like, he's gonna be mad at you. And Aaron comes ripping out on his machine coming back, and I tell him like, dude, we just got the biggest fish of the day. You have all the camera gear in the back of your quad. Well, I didn't realize Aaron had no brakes. You didn't have any brakes on your six-wheeler.
It does, but the front ones, it's only the front ones that work, not the rears.
So Aaron's coming out pinned.
Oh, yeah, I got her.
He's thinking like, oh, no, I'm going to be that guy that didn't allow them to get the shot. And here the funny thing is, Drew had his camera with him.
Oh, yeah, they had it with him. All I had literally was the case.
The only thing in the back of his quad was the case. Aaron's coming out Mach 90. And all of a sudden we're waving him down like, stop, we're filming. And we weren't filming a dang thing.
Exactly.
Aaron went into full Mario Kart power slide on this six-wheeler. Oh, yeah. And then you came up like we killed your dog. Like, I'd ruined it. And we're just like, what, dude, you have all the camera gear. And you're just like, no.
I look in the back and the big Pelican box is in there. I mean, there's another like soft case in there, and I'm thinking, oh no.
Yeah. We're like, we just caught the biggest crappie and the biggest walleye, and we had to let him go. It's too cold. We couldn't keep him. We didn't want to kill him, so we didn't get the shot. And the whole time, we didn't catch a darn thing. No. And Drew's holding his camera in his hand. And Aaron's just like, y'all gonna die. And the funny thing about this, which isn't too funny, is I'm pretty confident that Aaron could beat me and Drew up combined.
Yeah.
So here we are thinking we're smart, and I'm like, oh yeah, like Aaron's super scared of me and Drew. But we went on to catch some nice fish that trip.
But then the next year I brought a cooler so we could put water, so you wouldn't have that problem.
Yeah, I remember we went and hit another spot for crappies, and I remember vividly like you and Mason went off.
Oh yeah,
how many PBs did Mason catch that day? It was like 4 or 5.
It was at least 4. Yeah. Well, and remember, Jack and Mason caught 2 10-inchers back to back.
Yeah.
And they acted like it was, these are a couple nice real fish. And they looked at them and like, those are legitimate 10-inchers, boys.
Yeah. I remember you came up to me, you're like, Mace just broke his PB. Mm-hmm. I'm like, this is awesome. And he's excited to get pictures. And then I remember like 20 minutes later, you're like, he just broke his PB again.
Yeah.
And then like 20 minutes later, I remember Mason's like, I think I just broke my PB again.
Yeah.
Like, those are memories and moments that we won't ever forget.
Well, and he's broke so many just with you guys too. I mean, not just up there, but I mean all of the different fishing trips we've gone on. It's been a blast.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. That's one of my favorite trips. But between now and then, we have, I don't even know how many shows. A lot of shows.
There's a lot.
So, Aaron, you help out at all these shows. You do such a good job. Why do you love coming to these ice shows? Like, why? Like, let's be honest. I'll cut to the chase to defend our pro team. We don't pay any of you what you're worth to come to these shows, right? So anyone listening, most of the guys and gals you see in the Clam jersey, are they getting a little kickback, a little spiff? Of course they are. Not near enough for your time, right? So you guys are coming here because you want to be here, you care about it. So what makes you want to come to these shows so much?
I think honestly it's listening to different people and their different perspective of how they fish and what they want to learn. You know, I mean, there's people that come in here, there's kids in here that are younger than me that have taught me things. Yep. You know, just by what, and like you said, you've seen with the forward-facing sonar, you know, the big everything everybody likes to talk about. Kids are learning this stuff, and that's fun. That's fun to learn. I mean, to listen to what they say, like the podcast you just did not too long ago with Sobey and Bart. I mean, you listen to what they talk about, and I mean, you probably felt like the old dog in the podcast because, I mean, we grew up with not having any of that. We had Vexlers. That's all we really had for ice fishing.
Yeah.
And now to listen to hear the way people teach you about that, it's so much fun.
Yeah.
It's intriguing.
Yeah. And we can learn from people at the shows too. And
exactly.
And I like engaging in conversation with people that have something to teach me.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's funny because like you know, we know a lot. I'm not going to downgrade any of our pros. Like, you guys know a lot about fishing, but there's always somebody in the crowd that comes in and teaches you, I didn't realize that. I didn't know that. Or maybe they're talking about a lake or a bite. They're like, I'd like to try that sometime. Like, I enjoy engaging with the consumers at the shows, not just because I want to educate and teach and show people stuff, but I'm also eager to hear what they can teach and show me.
Yep. Exactly.
So it's kind of a two-way street. So, well, we got a lot more shows ahead of us. This is just the first one. This is the North Metro Ice Show. Then we have the Blaine Show. Well, no, then we go to Sioux Falls. Then we have Blaine. Then we have St. Paul. Then there's one in Wisconsin.
You've got the Shields events.
Thorn Brothers has sales going on. I know Cabela's has an event going on. Fleet Farm's everyone's got their stuff happening. There's a lot happening. I would say, and I would encourage anybody listening to any of these, get out to one of these events. Whether it's a show, whether it's your local retailer, talk to one of our guys like Tony and Aaron. They want to talk fishing with you. I 100% promise. They want to answer your questions. They want to engage. They want to have fun. That would be my biggest piece of advice if you go to one of these shows or a retail event. Take the opportunity to go pick the brains of some of these guys and gals that are out there doing it all the time and engage in some fun conversation, and you both will learn more about the sport of fishing.
Well, and everybody has their own little niche. I mean, some guys like to catch walleye. Some guys like to, you know, like you like to fish them catfish.
Yeah.
You know, everybody has their own little niche, and it's always fun to listen to what everybody has to say. I mean, Dave's here.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to learn something about any kind of fishing, river fishing, all that, go talk to him.
Yeah.
He has no problem talking to anybody.
Yeah. Dave Gens has to be told to go eat lunch because he won't stop talking.
Yeah.
And I say that like he just loves it.
Yeah.
It's in his blood. And more than likely at lunch, someone's going to sit by him and continue to talk fishing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it will.
So,
they'll follow him around. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But he doesn't. He loves it. He absolutely loves it.
Yeah. Well, this is a blast, guys. I can't thank you guys enough. Tony, thank you. Tony was told yesterday that he's doing this podcast as a guest host today. Aaron, thank you. We had a lot of great guests on here. This is a whole lot of fun. We're back after it at the North Metro Ice Show. Going to go talk to some more people. And we'll come back at everybody with another podcast probably next week. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you follow along. These podcasts can be found on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. But like we said, come see us at a show. Say hi. Don't be a stranger. We want to talk fishing and have a great ice fishing season.
It's going to be a great year.
With all of you.
Yes, it is.
Awesome. Thanks again, guys.
Ice awaits, guys.